Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here of the Steelers Film Room. I'm Nick Faribault here with Derek Bell. We got really good reception from our Week 1 breakdown, so we're back here again, breaking down some Denver Broncos Steelers tape and Houston Texans tape, as well as the Steelers prepare for Week 3. So Derek, I know this is maybe your favorite play of maybe the entire week. Me and you were talking
The season.
plays we could cover. Yeah,
Hype.
so far we were talking about plays that we could cover, and the Chase Claypool touchdown. You really like this play because of what Ben does. So what do you kind of see pre-snap just from the look?
So we're gonna get a two shell with Jackson and Simmons, kind of playing the two deep safety look. However, they're gonna use this outside linebacker edge guy to kind of cover up Juju. He pinches the line of scrimmage. If you look, you can already see from this angle that Ben's kind of looking right at Kareem Jackson. As soon as he sees that outside linebacker pinch, Jackson starts to roll down, and then he knows that he's got man-to-man right there. First thing that Ben's going to look at post-snap is he's seeing that Justin Simmons, his backside safety, is going to roll to the middle of the field. After that, he's got a one-on-one shot there with Claypool, who's matched up with Ojemudia. It's a really good route by Chase. I mean, it's a really good route.
Yeah,
Gives Ben plenty of room to throw it on the sideline. I liked how he pretty much stacks him with speed, which is that's awesome. That's exactly what this offense needs. They need somebody that can beat defenders deep, one-on-one, and to keep those safeties back. So
yeah, I like the pre-snap process by Ben realizing this. I mean, listen, he trusts Chase Claypool. This is the second time in as many weeks we've seen him take a deep shot at Chase Claypool. And what I like about Claypool is some people calling this a push off. This is just it's skill to hide pass interference in offensive pass interference in this league. AB did it as well as anyone. Juju does it really well. James Washington does it well. Kind of any good receiver in the league does it well. DeAndre Hopkins, you name him. Even Julio does it
it's a
really well.
skill. It's definitely a skill.
If you watch, just watch when Claypool separates, slight push, it gives him enough separation to accelerate through the catch point. It's nothing too big. It's just a slight shove. He doesn't even fully extend his arm. It's just enough to clear his paths of Ojemudia and get maybe another step of separation. But this is how receivers win in this league. It's a game of inches. Football is a game of inches. Best definition of it right there. And this also shows Claypool's build-up speed. I feel like, you see him progressively get faster. You see people say he doesn't play to his 4.42 speed. At times he doesn't, especially in the short areas. But once he gets going, especially by the time he's already here, he's running 4.42 speed, guys.
And that's a 4.39 corner, I believe, is what Ojemudia ran at the combine. So I mean, it's not like he beat a year 10 corner. I mean, he's a rookie, but this is a pretty athletic corner that he was able to beat with speed. That's just something that most of his plays at Notre Dame that you saw vertical were the 50-50 catch balls. They were the back shoulder throws. The guys that he beat with speed at Notre Dame was out of the slot. He was running by safeties, nickels, linebackers. But this is, a boundary corner at the next level that he's able to stack and beat for what ends up being, the play of the game.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, let's talk about Big Ben here. Not just recognizing pre-snap, but you know, Benny Snell misses the pickup block on the linebacker, and Ben knows he's going to get drilled at that point, and he still throws an absolute dime right to Chase Claypool. So props to Ben for standing in there, showing the poise, showing that toughness, and making a great throw to Chase Claypool. This was probably the Steelers' best play on either side of the football, in my opinion, in Week 2. And this is exactly what a veteran quarterback does. I don't think Mason Rudolph or Duck Hodges make this play last year at all. So this is what Ben brings. This is what Ben really does bring to the offense, and hopefully Chase Claypool continues to make plays like this. It's
I
that.
definitely agree too. Like you see like Ben talked a lot about in his presser that he was kind of frustrated with how he played. He felt like he left a lot of plays on the field, but him being able to process stuff pre-snap and know where to go with the football, as well as being able to take those like calculated risks down the field. Those are just things we just didn't have last year, and that's ultimately the difference in scoring 18, 19 points per game and doing what the Steelers are doing right now, which is at least putting together enough points or enough of these splash plays to kind of make up for some of the rust that's kind of coming from Ben right now.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't play a great game offensively. Still put up 26 points on a solid Denver defense, even without Von Miller and without a few other guys and AJ Boye on that defense. It's still a decent defense. So they did do a good job there. And props to the Steelers. This is a great play, and hopefully we see more of it heading into Week 3. All right, so next play we have, it's the Big Ben interception. Few things go into this play. I'm going to break this down pre-snap, and then Derek, you're going to break a little bit down kind of what happens post-snap. So basically what we see here, they're showing what the coverage is going to be. I mean, this is as clear as day quarters. They are very far off. Deontay has a 10-yard cushion, as does James Washington, even as he comes in motion. They just shift the leverage. So you don't really know if it's going to be zone or man. It could be both. So this is probably match quarters, where you can play match man, match zone. That's a Fangio staple. And Big Ben certainly sees that. So just from positioning, you're going to have a play either here or here. And Deontay's going to run a quick, deep out. And what that is you see Ojmudia, a slight outside shade. What Deontay's going to do is do a really good job of stepping this get open, and this is going to be Ben's main target. It's going to be Deontay. Away from this side of the formation. It's going to be hitting Deontay for that first down. He sees quarters. He's going to have to trust Deontay as a route runner to get open and hit him out of his break to get this first down, because it's third and 16. So they need a lot of yards on this play. And you have to process anything you see post-snap, but you got to trust your receiver. So I'm going to hand it off to Derek. Derek, what do you kind of see post-snap that really went wrong here?
I think we both talked about this a good amount too. I'm not really sure what Ben sees here. I think in his presser he talked about he just needs to trust that his guys are going to be there. I do wonder a little bit if earlier in the game there was like a third and long, like a 3rd and 10, I believe, where Juju ends up coming like a yard short of the first down marker. I wonder if maybe just the timing. I just don't think the timing's there with Deontay yet. He missed Deontay on a go route early in the game that should have been picked towards the end zone. He talked about in his presser that he's got to start trusting that his guys are going to be there and just kind of let it rip. I mean, the arm looks good. I mean, we've seen him rip a couple. We've seen the deep ball. I mean, almost every deep throw that we've seen past 20 yards has been on the money. I mean, you and I have both been begging them to throw more down the field. He gets the exact coverage. I mean, even the outside shade here on Deontay. Deontay does a good job still getting open. I mean, he's got a full 2 yard of separation. He comes off with good speed here to where, like, I think Ojemudia kind of has to respect that he might go for a go route, which is another thing. When you and I have kind of talked on Twitter a lot about trying to test defenses more vertically, I think they've got to start trying to send DJ and even Juju too. They've got to start sending them down the field a little more and maybe giving them a target or two, I think, to back some of these corners up.
Yeah.
I think
And
it just helps, gives them a little more separation, gives them more to think about.
if you want to see where they need to throw this, Ben is already playing. He's got the throw right here. Deontay's not even in his break yet. If he throws it right there, unloads it, DJ gets it, right here, it's first down, guys. He's past the stakes. It's first down. But instead, Ben pulls it back. I think what Ben saw, Ben needs to start throwing it here, but Ben starts throwing it there. So this would have been late, could have been picked by Oswego. I think that's what Ben is talking about when he's talking about timing. He was a step late on Deontay, and of course, football, that makes a world of difference. I just don't know what the heck he's doing after this. I don't know why. No one's open. I know it's third and long. This is one of those times you just look over here, throw it out of bounds, in my opinion. You don't throw a duck to Juju.
I think it's just like a frustration thing. I think even like you said, him being a step late on the out route, you see his footwork kind of he gets a little stiff too on that front leg.
Yep. And then Ben usually gets Wednesday off. Did not get Wednesday off because he was working on footwork.
Yeah. And I think like you saw it a couple times last week where I think we actually highlighted a play too that he missed Deontay on, where his footwork just looked a little like he had happy feet in the pocket. But this is all like timing stuff, right? So Deontay's missed a lot of time. He missed a lot of time last preseason in training camp when Ben was healthy. And of course, he wasn't the starter then, so who knows how many reps he was really getting with Ben. Deontay had off-season surgery. Of course, Ben's coming off major surgery, so I just don't think they've had a lot of time to work out some of these things. No preseason, altered training camp. But I do think that the fourth quarter touchdown that they hit together, where Ben, made the great play of rolling out the pocket, finding DJ in the end zone. I think that shows that the trust is there, at least for the most part. I just think it's mostly a timing thing. Ben's got to continue to get some of this rust off. But I think the more that they work together, I think we're going to start seeing some really special stuff here, a month from now, because, Deontay's the perfect receiver, too, for Ben. We've talked about the A-B comparisons, but Deontay's a great separator. I think once the timing's there, him and Ben are really going to take off.
Yeah, I just think it's going to take time because, again, they've missed so much time together. Deontay missed 2 weeks of the calf in training camp. And, I know he did head over to Ben's house a few days. There's obviously no work, but he's targeted him 23 times. That shows me he recognizes the talent Deontay is. I think the want is there. I don't know if the trust is fully there because I just don't think either of them feel comfortable. I think Ben has to get adjusted to the quickness of Deontay. I don't remember the last time he had a guy as quick as Deontay. Even AB, I don't think was as quick as Deontay.
I don't think that.
Who was as
quick?
I
don't know that I've ever seen a guy. AB is the closest thing, but the way that Deontay gets in and out of his breaks and in and out of cuts is unreal. It's one of the reasons why you and I were so bullish on the fit, I think, too, like when he was drafted last year, because the AB comparisons are obviously right there, but I think he's a perfect receiver for Ben. Ben's used to playing with smaller guys. But you got to think too, like a lot of the plays that Ben was able to make with Antonio, they were trust plays where it's the perfect throw. It's, the route's exactly the way Ben's expecting him to run it, or the ball was exactly the way that Antonio was expecting it. That stuff just takes time. I just think we're really early in the process. But again, I think the fact that you're even seeing so many targets and some splash play, even the splash play at the end of this game, I think it's off to a good start. I think we just haven't even scratched the ceiling of where we're going.
No, I totally agree with you. It's just he's got to learn to throw the step earlier than kind of everyone else. It's going to be way different timing-wise with Juju and Claypool and Washington than it is going to be with Deontay. And I think Ben and him will learn that as the season goes on. All right, so here we are. We are breaking down the Noah Fant touchdown. And Derek, you and I both know This play drove everyone wild. Keith Butler comes out and says, someone should have blitzed. Someone needs to blitz here. I think you and I both know who that someone probably is. It's probably Mike Hilton. I think you and I can both say that. But pre-snap here, what are you seeing from the Steelers?
So pre-snap looks like cover three to me. You're getting both the corners with the outside shade. Nelson, he's a full yard and a half outside of, I believe that's Deshaun Hamilton up top. Go ahead and play it. And it does look like it's supposed to be Mike Hilton that's supposed to blitz there. As you can see, Hilton's livid at Edmonds. I'm not really sure of the miscommunication there. It's definitely one of them two. If there was supposed to be someone that was supposed to blitz, it's definitely one of them two. I know everyone's going to blame Devin Bush because he's the closest man to the ball. That's not going to be a play that Devin's going to be able to make. Obviously, Devin was drafted to cover tight ends and to kind of fix some of the issues that we've had covering tight ends for years now. But his job really mainly here is to make sure he's going to be able to cut off that seam and wall off the middle of the field, which he does. But that's an impossible task for really any linebacker to cover with that type of leverage. I mean,
It's just not.
He's 3 to 4 yards inside of Noah Fant, and you're going to ask him to carry a deep corner route. Nobody's getting there, unfortunately.
No linebacker in the league is going to do that. Even the best cover linebackers like Eric Kendricks and Fred Warner are going to have a tough time making this play, guys. I mean, this is tough stuff. And I mean, if you look at what happens post snap, Mike Hilton. If Mike Hilton's the one supposed to looks like he's going to have a free sack or a free quarterback hit. No one even collapses on that side. It looks like he would have had a free hit. So you never know, but this looks like cover three. And I think everyone has their assignment down but Hilton, which makes me draw. I don't know what Keith Butler is trying to do with Devin Bush here then. If that's not a miscommunication and Edmonds is not supposed to be back here, and that's Bush, yeah, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
I thought originally.
I originally thought this was on Edmonds, but then once we heard blitz, now we know it's
same because what I'm thinking is that it's going to actually be more of like a cover one where Edmonds needs to carry the corner out while Devin Bush is going to wall off the seam right up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not really sure as far as like, I mean, I guess you can take Keith Butler's word as the truth, or he could just be doing lip service. I don't know. I don't know really what he would get from that. I don't know that coordinators are really listening too much to his post-game interviews or during the week interviews. But I definitely think that that's an impossible play. If that is supposed to be a blitz by Hilton, it's an impossible play for Devin Bush to make.
It's almost like they were betting on the blitz getting home, if that's
right.
The case. And you're shooting the touchdown. In other words, if that's the case, this is a bad play call by Keith Butler. Mike Tomlin, whoever called this play, this is a straight up bad call. If it's not a blitz and, Butler's maybe feigning for Edmonds and Edmonds should be covering this corner, well, then this is cover three still almost. It's a version of cover three, which is a cover one. It's called cover three Mabel. It's a saving concept, and just as Derrick pretty much described it, and Edmonds would have had to squeeze this to the corner, and Bush would have had the seam. But
Nelson carries the vertical route to the boundary.
Exactly.
But they don't. But regardless of if it's Edmonds or Hilton, I do think it's interesting Hilton's reaction immediately after this. You see him look at Edmonds. Edmonds is looking at him. on who messed up. I guess we really won't know. But
Uh-huh.
Edmonds had a particularly frustrating day in coverage. You and I both thought that he played pretty well going downhill as he normally does. I think Edmonds is just he's a lot more comfortable when he can play the run, play downhill, play in the box. But Denver really took advantage of him while he was in the slot. Now, why Pittsburgh continues to line him up in the slot, especially against quick, shifty receivers like Denver has in KJ Hamler and Jerry Judy, I have absolutely no idea. But
Lack of a better third safety is what I would
yeah,
say.
I think and the weird thing about Evans, I think usually because I feel like I'm constantly taking up for him on Twitter because I don't think he's as bad as everyone thinks he is, but I think Evans is generally speaking normally in the right spot. He
Uh-huh.
just isn't good at the catch point. Um, I don't think he's a very good cover guy, but he's athletic. But I just don't. There was a couple of different times. Maybe this is one of them. The other time was on the Melvin Gordon wheel route, where he's just in the wrong position. Like he had a couple of mental errors. I thought on Sunday um,
I
that
mean,
you just wouldn't expect from a guy that's in his third year as the starter as in this defense.
to be fair, I think the whole secondary, I mean, the whole defense had a lot of trouble communicating. This is
Yeah.
an example of miscommunication either way. Hilton didn't blitz or Edmonds missed that. That's miscommunication. I don't know who to blame that on, whether I blame that on the coaches, whether I blame that on Bush because Bush is the new communicator. Maybe I know they want Bush to be the communicator. Maybe they need to give it to Vince for a few games. You know what I mean? And let Bush learn from Vince. I don't know. Maybe it's on Minka, because usually the deep safety aligns everybody in front of him. It could definitely be on Minka for not, for not giving Edmonds, hey, you got to get back here.
Right.
Um, or it could be everybody's fault. All those that I named. You never know. But it's something they got to clean up. Too many miscommunications. This was something that we saw all week too. Blown coverages. There was another one where there was a wide open receiver in the corner. Luckily, the pass rush got home, but wide open receiver in the corner, that's a blown coverage. Too many blown coverages. The Steelers defense has to be better against Deshaun Watson because, as we'll discover, Deshaun Watson's a little bit better under pressure than Jeff Driscoll is.
Right.
All right, so next play here, the first of the Texans plays, we're going to show you why Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So you can see pressure look from the Baltimore Ravens, single high look. We have trips to this side from the Texans. By the way, pretty interesting splits from the Texans. And we have a near receiver here with a running back in there. I'm guessing these splits are to create a little bit of traffic in the middle of the field, confuse a little bit of the corners if they ever want to run a rub route of some sort. But Derrick, man, I'm just gonna play this and let it speak for itself. We're gonna watch this. Just watch this throw. I mean, wow.
Stupid good.
So and watch it from this angle. I think this makes it more impressive.
I
The
agree.
house being sent to Deshaun Watson, and look at this. Not even with his feet set. What a throw!
Oh, I mean, Steelers pass rush has been crazy. Crazy good both when they're just bringing four and when they're blitzing. I mean, they're blitzing at a crazy rate right now. You and I have talked about that a lot. I don't know how much that's going to continue past this week. I think this week might be the last week that they're going to be able to blitz crazy. And then I think the percentages are going to come down a little bit. But this is kind of shows. I wanted to highlight this one particularly because it shows how smart Watson is, like both inside the pocket and once he kind of breaks contain. But I mean, you're going to get pressure here. Baltimore's not really disguising anything. It's just a matter of where these guys are coming from.
Reads it.
Actually, pretty good. Baltimore does a good job on this loop. They bring this outside linebacker all the way back over, and he gets home, and the right tackle gets beat too. Houston's offensive line is atrocious. You and I have talked about it on week 2, um, they're not going to be able to keep him up. But the key is, even if you do get pressure, if you don't get home, he's still capable of making throws down the field.
Huh.
I mean, it's what makes Deshaun a special player.
Yeah, what I like what he does here is we see him scan the field before he takes a snap. We know deep over route, climb route, whatever you want to call it for Cooks, inside leverage. Cooks is going to win that every time. Watson knows if he gets under duress, I'm throwing it here. Nothing changes post snap, fires it in there. That's knowing your route. That's knowing where you need to throw it, even when you get under duress. And I think that's why Watson is so good at what he does under pressure. He's one of the best players under pressure, one of the best quarterbacks under pressure. Partially because he can do this. Also, though, he can run. So rush lanes for the Steelers going to be key. They got to stay disciplined in their rush lanes. Otherwise, Watson's going to take off and, take a first down. It's definitely a tougher task than Jeff Driscoll, and most certainly a tougher test than Daniel Jones as well. This is the best quarterback they'll face for a while, actually, on the schedule.
I agree. I think a couple of things about Houston's personnel. We mentioned how their offensive line really struggles. He's a really, really good player. But outside of that, I just really don't think that they're going to have the horses up front to block Pittsburgh's front seven.
I agree. And then their receivers, very talented.
Very fast. They have a lot of speed. Both Cooks and Fuller. We've seen Fuller. He's kind of a Mike Wallace clone. That's kind of the way that I view him, at least. You got a lot of guys that can get down the field in a hurry. So they'll be big on Pittsburgh. They've allowed some big plays. Slayton, he's a fast guy. He beat them in week 1. They got beat last week. Hayden did on a deep ball to Cortland Sutton. So in my opinion, I think the way that Houston can win this game is if they get 2 or 3 of these explosive plays down the field with Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks for potentially a score or 2. I just think that that's going to be their only shot. I don't think they're going to be able to drive the ball on the Steelers' defense just because I don't think the pass pro is going to hold up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also David Johnson has looked good so far on the season. And they have a talented tight end, Jordan Akins, here. He's actually their leading receiver right now. So watch out for the tight ends again. Steelers had trouble with Noah Fant last week. Kept Evan Ingram in check. So we'll see kind of how they decide to switch up their strategy. I'm certain Keith Butler's in the lab making some adjustments. All right, so next play, we're going to talk a little bit about that offensive line, Derek. We're going to talk about it, all right. And, let's let the video speak for itself. Watch the right tackle, Titus Howard. What do you think he's doing here, man? What do you think he's doing here?
I don't know. I don't know that he knows. I've watched this play 50 times, and I cannot fathom what he is doing, letting Frank Clark run unimpeded to their franchise quarterback. This is a shocking play because this is awfully bad for an NFL tackle. This is bad for a college tackle. But this just kind of highlights what we just talked about how their offensive line is just – they're going to struggle. I do not see a scenario in which even if they go to a more short passing game, even if they go run heavy, I think Pittsburgh's in for at least 4 or 5 sacks on Sunday. TJ might have 4 or 5 on his own. I don't know.
Yeah, and we talked about those explosive plays. Watch this look. Comes out in single high, drops to cover 2. They got Fuller up the seam, Cooks up the seam, put that safety in a tough spot. So this is probably a touchdown that they lost because Titus Howard, it doesn't make sense to me. This is a clear 4-man rush. Even if you're expecting a stunt, that's the guard's job. That's not your job as the right tackle. If it's a wide stunt, maybe, but you'll have to get depth. Frank Clark's in a wide 9. His focus should be on Clark, and does he just not see him? Literally, does he just not see him as a wide 9? Is that the explanation? Did he never look out past the tight end? Like, I mean, Clark's in a wide nine, so if anything, Howard should be going depth, get depth. Why? I don't know why he
And you
says
can even look at his like you look at his helmet. His helmet's towards the center. As soon as this ball is snapped, I mean he doesn't even look at Frank Clark.
how
I mean
many.
I don't even know if I really don't think he ever saw him like you said. But you can kind of tell this is cover two, I believe.
Yep,
Yeah.
number two.
So this is cover two, but you can get an idea of Fuller's speed. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about how Claypool, obviously different stature, different physical um, builds, but whereas Claypool's like a really build up speed kind of guy, Fuller gets places in a hurry
He's
quickly.
explosive on the snap. Yep. This is if Watson is able to stand in there and find
It's a
this.
touchdown all day long. And that's not even a throw that, I mean, the cover two, like the honey hole or whatever you want to call it, throw. We saw Joe Burrow make a throw on this, I think, exact kind of coverage and route combination last week for a touchdown. But this is a throw that Deshaun's going to make probably 9 out of 10 times. But you can just get an idea of, again, of Will Fuller's speed. I mean, he stacks Ward. I think that's who's out there at
That's
corner.
very word.
Yeah, I mean he stacks him easy here. I mean that's a touchdown if protection's better up front.
Yeah, something to note. He did come in with an ailing hamstring. Came off the injury report. We'll see if that affects him at all. He was really null and void last week because again they didn't really use him that much because of a hamstring injury.
Right.
So we'll see kind of how that works this week. But you can see the weapons and how the Texans' offensive line pretty much neutralizes all those weapons and why the Steelers pass rush is going to be so important this week. All right, so for our last play, we're going to show you how the Texans utilize motion in their scheme. Derrick, this is a play we really like and we highlight also because the Texans use a lot of RPOs to help Deshaun Watson and obviously this offensive line to a degree. So what do you kind of see on this play? Just letting it play.
So they bring this tight end close. You know you're going to get zone coverage. No one follows him, and then they're going to bring a receiver on kind of like a jet motion, play action like an RPO from David Johnson, and he's going to hit Will Fuller kind of behind the linebackers. You can look and see the kind of the influence of all this motion and the RPO where it's going to bring these linebackers towards the line of scrimmage, creates a wide open throwing lane, really easy pitch and catch for Houston. It's going to gain, 15 yards or so. But you're going to see a lot of this. They do a lot of these RPOs. You'll see it at least 5 times probably on Sunday.
Yeah,
Linebackers for the Steelers, especially Devin Bush. I thought he struggled with play action and RPOs and stuff like that towards the early portion of his rookie year, but I felt like since then he's gotten a lot better at staying disciplined. But it's going to test him. Watson's going to test him a lot this week with it, I think.
yeah, for sure. And I think something with this as well, you can see watch him slide out and then up everything. It just shifts the whole line. Like it doesn't just shift the linebackers. The D line shifts. The secondary shifts. Like you back off Ward. Ward backs off now because here comes Tyrann Mathieu to play the jet. I mean, everything and that opens up that because now Mathieu is the replace. He goes back to the deep part and I mean, he replaces him in a cover two scheme here pretty much, and
Like a cover 2 invert.
this must be a this must be a this must be a check the Chiefs have in their system, I would guess, to allow Matthew to be closer to the ball and make plays. But um, this must be something the Texans saw on film and exploited the heck out of it. And that's a really good job by Bill O'Brien to scheme that up and get a wide open window. That's money for Deshaun Watson to make that play every day. Will Fuller's dangerous after the catch, so the Steelers better make sure they be able to tackle him. All this could be, this could be anybody. I mean, this could be Brandon Cooks, who's dangerous after the catch too. It could be QT. It could be any of them. So good stuff from the Texans here. And I think when you saw Watson point this out, pointing out the zone, I think this is when they said motion. They probably have a check two-way there. It's either send Cooks in motion, and then they have a different play out of that if they see man, pretty much. Probably something sort of a rub route, I would guess. Some type,
with the stack up top.
yeah. Something of a rub route, if that, I would guess. But it's a great call against a zone coverage, and they probably saw this check. Um, so yeah, really good play. And the Steelers defense, even though I think they have the advantage, it's not going to be a very easy assignment because Deshaun Watson's just so talented.